Last week, we saw a 51% attack on Monero. Is this something that could happen on other blockchains as well? Looking at Kaspa, we're going to take a look and see if 51% attacks are a real threat for a blockchain as advanced such as Kaspa. So let's jump into it in this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and follow me on X as well if you're watching over there. And you're probably wondering why I picked Kaspa out of all the other blockchains. Well, because they were essentially a part of their next target, right? They actually put out a poll of which blockchain they wanted to target next. Kaspa was one of them. However, they decided to go and set their sights on Dogecoin instead. And I'm going to tell you exactly why Kaspa is safe for now. But that could potentially be something down the road that we could anticipate being, having those vulnerabilities and making sure that the blockchain is secure. So let's talk about it here. So Cubic attempted a 51% attack against privacy blockchain Monero last week, and some are saying it fell short, and some are saying that it actually was successful. Now, Cubic is setting its sights now, like I mentioned, on Dogecoin for its next experiment. The new target came from a vote in their Discord server, which saw Dogecoin beat out two other proof of work blockchains, Zcash and Kaspa. So Kaspa is not on their sites as of right now. However, that could change down the road. So let's understand what a 51% attack is before we get into what took place and why Kaspa is a little bit more secure in that regard. A group of miners on a blockchain network can gain control of more than 50% of the network's mining hash rate. And when they do that, this control could allow them to manipulate the network in various ways. So you look at it as, miners on the blockchain are, it's like a validating kind of thing. And what they're able to do is if they own it, they could prevent new transactions from gaining confirmations, effectively halting payments between users. They could also reverse transactions that were already finished and make it possible that they could double spend the coins, so to speak. That's what it's called, double spending. So they could spend the same coins twice. So they could manipulate the network so that it doesn't recognize that those coins were already used, and they can kind of basically give them back. So that is interesting. So the mechanics of a 501 attack is, or sort of five. I say 501. I got darts on my brain. I think I'm always playing 501, but it's a 51% attack. So that's basically what the dynamics are for it. But obviously, let's jump over and we're going to take a look at how Kaspa uh, is probably not their next target because of the fact that it's going to be a little bit harder for them to manipulate. Monero experienced one of the most significant security incidents in history. A mining pool linked to Cubic obviously executed a 6-block deep reorganization on Monero's chain, orphaning around 60 blocks. So this, and if you know anything about blockchain, blocks hold your data, right? They hold all your transaction data into little segments, right, on the blockchain. And so that had grown their share of Monero's hash rate from under 2% just in May to more than 25 by late July, and then eventually crossing that 51% threshold. And once they gain control over more than half of that network, which would be that 51%, that's when they have control and they're able to potentially manipulate the network. This represented a real-time 51% attack, giving Cubic the ability to rewrite the chain, censor transactions, and potentially double spend. Now, others have argued that the incident might have been an unusually lucky run by a powerful pool rather than a substantial takeover. Regardless, it doesn't matter. They were still able to manipulate and take 51% control. Now, Monero's price dropped sharply, and some exchanges had temporarily halted withdrawals. So, whether or not people are saying that this was a successful 51% attack, the damage was done, right? Their security was breached, and it's a 51% attack is not something to take lightly. Now, why it could happen on Caspa, but it would be far more difficult to achieve, right? And if Cubic's going through testing, they're targeting Dogecoin because they think, taking over Dogecoin's such a big cryptocurrency. You get that, that clout kind of thing. I think is what they're going for here. But and also, it's always good to test vulnerabilities as well, and then that way we know what needs to be improved on. However, Caspa's architecture is built to make such attacks significantly less practical. Caspa uses what's called a block DAG structure via the Ghost DAG protocol, and this allows multiple parallel blocks to coexist instead of orphaning them. And this reduces the advantage an attacker can gain by mining secretly, since honest blocks are not discarded and still contribute to consensus. So, making it a little bit harder for them to basically manipulate that. The network would quickly incorporate all blocks in traditional chains. Attackers benefit when honest blocks are orphaned, but Caspa's inclusive approach makes that a leverage. Now, Caspa's network is secured, sorry, by specialized ASIC mining hardware. This is costly to make. So this is going to be a very big financial endeavor in order for somebody to try and take over Caspa. The cost to produce and just limited supply of these systems to this mining hardware is going to make it almost I'm not going to say it's not impossible, but it's going to make it extremely hard for somebody to try and do this. A 51% attack would require significant upfront capital. They would have to also take resources, because most people who already have ASIC mining hardware, they're using it to mine. So they're going to have to take away from whatever they're doing to deploy it to this cause, and that's just probably not going to happen, right? Now, Caspa's ASIC dependency makes it a great deal more expensive and logistically challenging for an attacker to gain majority control. Now, nodes only need to keep a few days of full history on Caspa, and this drastically narrows the window in which a deep reorganization could occur, requiring an attacker to act quickly and visibly. And when people act quickly, what happens there? Sometimes they make mistakes, and as well, if they're visible when they're doing it, they're increasing the chance of being detected. So that is good as well, and counteraction could be taken if that is noticed. Now, Caspa's combination of block DAG consensus, high throughput ASIC mining, security, and pruning technology makes a similar attack exponentially harder to carry out. And I think that's why I think they took a look at Caspa and they thought, you know what, we're not ready for that yet. That is pretty advanced, and I think we're going to, maybe set our sights somewhere else first. So no blockchain is absolutely immune. Just keep that in mind, guys. But Caspa is definitely built for security, and it is not something that they take lightly. And when I say they, I know Caspa is decentralized, but just the way it's built, the way like I mentioned, like I just laid it all out for you guys. And thank you as well to Caspa, I believe it was Caspa Daily, for providing that article on X. Very, very good and well written, and easy to understand how this is going to be kept safe. So 51% attacks are always something that are it's possible on networks. But you have to take control of a ton of resources in order to do that. So hopefully things, will stay that way for quite some time. I'm sure we'll see more security improvements come from some of these tests that Cubic is doing, amongst, I'm sure, other companies most likely try these things out as well. So, but we always come up with security patches because something has happened, right? So when something happens, you see the vulnerabilities and you're able to act and take control of that and make it so that those vulnerabilities can't be exploited again. So hopefully there'll be lots to learn from this. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I just wanted to explain that to you because I've been seeing some chatter on X as well, social media and such, about potentially them targeting Caspa, and it's something that we do take seriously, because this is our funds are on the network. They're basically in blocks on the network, and you don't want to lose your money, and neither do I. So that's what I got for you guys in this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully you found this useful. Make sure you guys hit the like button, and let me know down below what you think about this. I think that Caspa's on the right track here. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.